Welcome to the Railway Series Book Club, the podcast where we dissect the Railway Series. I'm Jamie.
I'm Marina.
I'm Liv.
And we hope you enjoy the show.
Hello, Gordon. I love having gay sex with you.
So true, James.
This is a beautiful way to start.
It sure is. Welcome to the Railway Series Book Club, the podcast where we read the book about the train.
I derail things like 90
that.
times.
I've tried not to laugh about all the times you
very occasionally we read book about train. Usually we're just laughing about nonsensical bullshit.
A lot of the time related to train.
And if you want to laugh about nonsensical bullshit with us, well, technically you can't, but hopefully, as of this episode's release, we are opening our Discord server to the public, so you can come in, chat with us, chat with other people about the Railway Series, share questions and memes, and just have fun. Asterisk. Don't be an asshole.
Can we open up a channel? It's just like all Railway Series themed, and then there's just like one channel, Marina's TV Series Corner or something. Because I feel like that would fit the vibe, or like the brand.
It'd be funny if it were like, if it were just called the dumpster.
The dumpster. In parentheses.
If you rack up enough warnings, we send you to the tunnel.
The dumpster behind Tidmouth Sheds.
I am pretty sure that's where James lives.
Oh, he lives in the dumpster behind Knapford Station. You get more free food there.
Speaking of James, I wonder what story we're reading today.
Yes, it also features Tidmouth Sheds.
Oh, fuck!
It looks an awful lot like the sheds we saw last time. And, they aren't named at all because that plot point, part in the timeline, probably hadn't been thought of yet, because I'm pretty sure he started, figuring out the maps in Book 4, and then started figuring out the timeline in Book 5.
You see, it's actually very simple. They just took the shed and moved it to the other side of the island. I don't just mean, location-wise, I mean physically. They picked it up, put it on a truck, and then all of the engines had to work to pull it over because giant building.
God, that image is just reminding me of, those fucking, how sometimes, on the road, you'll see, a truck carrying a house?
Yeah.
It's just like that.
Why did they
for
do
trains.
that?
Reasons? I don't know shit about housing.
There's places where you could just order fucking houses, basically, and then they just
I think they're,
it.
prefabricated.
We just gotta take Tidmouth Sheds and push it somewhere else.
Gold team rules!
It definitely... I was really confused at why, Tidmouth Sheds was located at Vickerstown. I can see why they're moving it over there.
They built it there by accident. The same people that fucked over the Fat Controller selling him Benry also were in charge of the company that installed the sheds.
Where the fuck did I trust these fuckers again? They built 2 sheds at Vickerstown.
They were just dead set on inconveniencing the railway.
Absolutely.
Speaking of inconveniencing the railway, today we're going to talk about James and Gordon.
Have we introduced ourselves yet, even?
No.
No, we were talking about that 2 episodes ago, where, they don't interact until this story.
No, I think they meant,
Andrew means,
we haven't introduced ourselves.
Oh, fuck, we haven't!
Yeah. Yeah, we're not Gordon and James. We collectively are not Gordon and James. Though, there'd be a very interesting even split. 2 of us would be Gordon at once.
Yeah.
And 2 of us would be James.
So who's who?
I feel like my one brain cell has very James energy in it.
You've established that you don't have a brain cell.
I borrow yours, remember? Hey, I left the IOU in your head. Let's do the introduction.
Yes. Hello everyone, welcome to the Railway Series Book Club. I don't know why I'm saying this again. My name is Jamie. I am your hostess with the mostest. My pronouns are she, her. Here are my good friends and co-hosts.
Hi, I'm Marina. I'm your local TV series bitch, and my pronouns are she, her.
I'm Liv. I'm the British one. I'm also a she, maybe a her. Who knows? You'll find out someday.
I'm Andrew. I'm the guest. I am Playrel Addict Bitch, and this week I have a worm on a string and a hat that says weed ass on it.
Oh, fuck yeah!
I love that so much.
My friend got hers in today.
Yo!
So now we can match weed ass hats when we next hang out. I'm very excited for that.
That is amazing.
I am over the fucking moon about that today.
So today we're reading James and the Express, if you couldn't tell.
I couldn't tell.
Well, that's a you problem.
I'm the one that's supposed to forget what we're doing.
Right, so is there anything of particular interest with this story before we just fucking plunge right into it?
I think it has the most pages that are, like, plagiarized from the previous book.
What?
Oh, yeah.
Like, the first four pictures all look like they've been traced over from illustrations that are in Thomas the Tank Engine. Or at the very least, the blocking is very, very similar.
Oh yeah, I can see that actually.
See, with the first two, with, like, I think either Thomas and the Trucks or Thomas's Train.
Yeah, I have them written down here. We can point them out as we go along.
Yeah.
There's no rush.
Right, so I believe I'm reading this one.
I'd have liked to have had a go at this one, but also I don't want to be greedy.
Yeah.
You've had your food. Let me eat.
Greedy grinning.
James and the Express.
James and the Express. Sometimes Gordon and Henry slept in James's shed, and they would talk of nothing but bootlaces. James would talk about engines who got shut up in tunnels and stuck on hills, but they wouldn't listen, and went on talking and laughing. You talk too much, little James, Gordon would say. A fine, strong engine like me has something to talk about. I'm the only engine who can pull the Express. When I'm not there, they need 2 engines. Think of that.
Okay,
That Gordon voice is great.
I'm looking at the illustrations. I must regretfully inform that for some fucking reason, Henry does
That's not
not
Henry.
have his copper cap.
That's yeah,
so
you know what?
weird, I love it!
What the fuck is that creature? That is not Henry.
That is not the Henry
fucking
we know and love. He does not have his buffers. He does not have his copper cap. This is an imposter.
You see, when they were talking about Henry 1 and Henry 2, it wasn't actually referring to pre and post rebuild Henry, or that like one died and replaced the other. It was just that there was a really brief period where this engine came in and said they were Henry, and no one had any idea who they were, so they just didn't question it, and then actual Henry showed up because the imposter was a bit too sus.
Upon looking in railway archives, apparently this faux Henry was actually named Gerald. Short for Geraldine Mick. I am not a good joke. and I think what made the Fat Controller be able to tell that it wasn't Henry was that this engine was actually operational.
See, the thing about Henry is that Henry is the well-regarded and the well-renowned GNR A0 Shit Pacific.
The thing with the thing with Henry is he's known across the island and beyond to not be able to function.
So when this guy shows up and is like, "Hey, I'm Henry," and just actually does his work on time.
Who are you?
Like, I just like the idea of, like, it pulls into, like, Vickerstown of, like, a train, like, and, like, the Fat Controller's there, like, "Hello, sir, I brought this train in." "Oh, well done, Henry." "Wait. What the fuck?"
Henry can't pull trains. What are you playing at?
Who the fuck are you?
Where's Ashton Kutcher, even though it doesn't exist yet?
So something else fun about this image. Well, first of all, just looking at it, I just noticed that, like, Gordon's boiler looks like he's a fucking Shay with how off-center it is.
Or just wait till you get to fucking Henry's, like, angled boiler in Thomas and the Guard.
I love Gordon's face in that.
Dalby sure does know how to draw trains. You know, this Gordon face actually isn't, like, too bad. I think it might translate nicely into a face mask. It also helps that all three of them are wearing the fucking pristine lipstick.
Oh, yeah.
There's just an energy to it I love.
It's like he's just sipped some wine and is like, okay, bitch.
Yeah.
See, Gordon
want-
is being, like, smart about it, and Henry's just, like, trying.
Well, that's not Henry.
Benry.
Yeah. Benry. There
You're
we
a
go.
little
Yeah.
bitch, James.
No. Let's just retrofit the bit.
He's Benry
his
now.
name is actually Benry. It's not like Geraldine McFuckshoes, whatever the fuck I said before, alright?
It's like
Benry.
Benry is just, like, trying to insult James, but, like, he's not really succeeding, but he doesn't realize that.
Doing his bad.
All things considered, I do appreciate at least Dalby, like, trying to make Benry look distinct from Gordon, because this is something that he ended up failing at a bit later on when drawing them, but I think it's probably because the Rev said the same sort of thing to him that, like, we just have to each other, that creature is not Henry. Fuck you. Like, the fucking bit in Metal Gear Solid 2. Like, no, that is not Solid Snake!
Yeah. Like, I mean, honestly, if he just put the copper cap there, I would have been fine with it.
Yeah.
But no copper cap and the circular... I'm not a fan of Henry with the square buffers, just because, like, that's, you know... Like, that's Gordon's thing. But the copper cap could have been Henry's thing. But they just don't do it. And that's why it's fucked up.
Dalby fucking erased
Can I just
that
point
shit
out very
before.
quickly,
Yeah.
very quickly, how it looks like James has, like, a swollen lip from being punched in the face?
He's definitely gotten into some sort of altercation, because his buffers are lopsided.
He went after he like didn't fuck up taking the trucks. He immediately went to like I was gonna say the Steamworks, but the Works to get a reward, and he decided on a Botox injection, but it kind of went wrong. They're waiting for it to wear off.
That's
Poor
upsetting.
James.
It was only on his buffers, though, which was very strange.
We've been talking for a long time about this illustration, but do we have anything to actually say about this page?
Have we had anything to say about any
Like,
of the pages
like, this
in
is the first
book?
time they actually properly interact, and the callback to Edward, Gordon, and Henry is fun.
Yeah.
But, like, there's not... I don't know. It is definitely setting up Gordon's hubris, but, like, you know, it's a perfectly functional introductory paragraph.
Good. It's just funny that James is trying to like hit back at Gordon and Henry with their own shit, but they just fucking knock him back down anyway.
They
like,
just don't even acknowledge it.
James is just that pathetic.
He's
Like, imagine being so pathetic that Henry punches down at you.
I'm not at the bottom of the totem pole anymore.
not even Henry, fucking Benry, dude. Come on.
Okay.
Yeah,
Just
Do
you,
better.
like, you really don't have a leg to stand on at that
Just
point.
imagine, like, Gordon in the shed, just like, you know, James, I never thought I'd see an engine so pathetic that Henry would be able to punch down. Yeah, wait, hang on. What? Gordon? You don't have to be rude to me.
I told you I'm not actually Henry.
What do you mean? I'm Henry. No, Mario. I don't remember my Henry being that stretchy.
Wait, hang on. Gordon, wait, I'm not Henry. Oh, wait, no, hello? I'm Henry. Ooh.
Oh my god.
Ooh.
Nice.
He does the US voice to try and convince Gordon.
I'm Henry.
I'm Henry.
It's me, Henry.
I just want Sir Topham Hatt to be proud of me.
Why did I think you were gonna say Sir Toppa Hat?
Do nothing but Benry.
I was gonna say one thing. Do you think the they need two engines was meant as like a reference to Edward, Gordon, and Henry, or do you because I would assume Henry would be able to pull the train on his own outside that circumstance, or
I think he might be able to, but also consider that Henry fucking sucks.
yeah, good
Yeah,
point.
exactly.
At this point in his life.
It's
So-
I think of Henry as he could do it on a good day. He just doesn't have very.
They
many
don't
good
trust him.
days.
Yeah.
But what if?
Yeah.
But if they needed to pull the express, would 98462 and 87546 need to double head?
They've been snapped by Edward by this point.
But
Yeah,
before they
they've
were
been trapped in a loop line
annihilated.
for a long time.
I'm only
Yeah.
bringing this up because someone asked about this in the comments. So, not specifically them, just if it do we think it was referring to other engines?
Honestly, it never really clicked till I was looking at the doc the other night that it could be a callback to Edward Gordon and Henry, and it
Yeah,
just
I
sort
never
of
thought
made
about that as a
everything make
kid.
sense all of a sudden.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
oh shit, yeah, well, last time we saw Gordon, he did eat shit and need to have the express pulled by two engines.
Also,
so
can
that tracks.
I think it is kind of the point of the story, but I never really registered this until just now. Gordon says they need two engines, but then James just does it on his own later.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he sure does.
Yeah, no, because that's
that
the only
is-
time anyone other than Gordon's pulled the express.
Yeah. I think, I think that might be what inspired Audrey. Well, there might be half of what inspired Audrey picking James's class as the LNYR class 28.
Mm.
I'm pretty sure it's 28.
Yeah, James is 28.
Because, they were made for just, those were just made, they were designed with freight haulage in mind. But they ended up being used on a lot of passenger trains as relief engines for when actual passenger engines broke down.
Yeah.
That's when they discovered the whole thing with the front heaviness, because they were running them at speed to try and keep up with the passenger train schedules. Hence, why in the Thomas universe, James is created as an experiment to see if that,
Well,
if that would work better.
There actually are proposed drawings for a mogul version of a 28. That was something genuinely
Really?
considered. Yeah.
Cool.
By the Lancashire and Yorkshire Railway.
So James isn't even a
James was almost in
isn't
real.
even
Yeah.
a completely bullshitted thing. He's just a what if of something that could have been.
Very, very real what if.
Yeah. It's kind of like how, if one wants to be, super adherent to reality, Henry could be based at one, initial drawing for the A1 that was basically just, Atlantic but long.
What if we made a long boy?
Henry
miniature
is
engine
the
theory.
engine
Fucking
equivalent of a
Henry
long
Greenwood.
Furby.
Ooh.
Henry's what?
Henry's the engine equivalent to a long Furby.
I love those things so much. I love those things.
I kind of just want to buy a long Furby and give it a copper cap chimney and say, "There's Henry. There's my Henry the Greenlee engine marketable plushie."
Yes. Henry Mark I plushie.
Do we have anything else to say, or should we move on?
Yeah, just real quick. Side anecdote about the "when I'm not there, they need two engines" line. That line is something that for some reason I've associated for a very long time with this fucking really, really old Lionel remake of the TV story that I saw on YouTube once when I was very, very young, and it's just for that it just shows this really crusty footage of a pair of I think Alco diesels pulling the express in quotes as it were, and it's just wow, two engines. I don't even know why it stuck with me that much.
There are a lot of
the
old
biggest
videos
outline
like that just kind of connect with you for some reason.
Yeah.
Very quickly on that
Yeah.
topic. Did anyone else see a video? It was an old take along video, and it was Thomas, Henry, and someone else, and they find, like, Skarloey on a flatbed, and he's, like, gonna be scrapped, and they try and save him, but then they all just fucking die. And then it cuts back to, like, a shed, and it's just Thomas telling a story, and Henry's just like, that was fucking terrible, we all died, why did you write that?
I
don't, but that sounds really good.
I remember that, I think.
And, like, I think Gordon was in the shed scene, but he wasn't in, like, the rest of the video. I don't remember what it was called, and, like, I don't know how I could possibly find it now.
Anyone remember I think it was, Upside Now first video where Toby's in a gang?
I'm sorry?
They're, like, delivering pirate treasure, and it gets stolen by the gang, which is made up of, like, Diesel, Toby, and Mavis.
Okay, I've mentioned this to Mari before. Have either of you two, Jamie and Andrew, have you seen the video? It's like there's like a kid going around doing graffiti and like fucking up the engines, and like it's like Thomas and Mavis and like Donald without a tender trying to figure out what the fuck's going on, and it's so like.
I don't think I've seen that.
It's like a guy on a skateboard who's like following Diesel's orders, and then Donald pushes him off a cliff into a volcano and dies. It was like set up like as like a play or something, because at the end like people in an audience would like clap.
That's fucking weird.
There was like a few. The other one I remember is like Toby and Mavis, and Toby sounds like this for some reason, and that's all I really remember about it. It's like they're trying to win a race that Thomas has won every single year, so they use like a paper bag full of like Maltesers to destroy a bridge, and Thomas falls into a river, and then just like washes up at the finish line and wins anyway, and they send Toby and Mavis to like Alcatraz.
Nice.
Good.
For some reason that made me think of Sodar Races, like the...
Hello everybody!
It was like the... Does anyone else remember that? It was the series by like the guy that did
like
all
the
those
Tommy
races.
thing.
Yeah.
And then there was like a Diesel 10 plot line.
Yeah, and then it just never got finished.
That sounds familiar as a thing. It's something that I would have been aware of, but like wouldn't have watched.
I think like he confirmed to me in the comments once, because I asked. It was like, oh, like I'm guessing like because he had said like this is over, like don't like ask about it. I just said like, oh, is there like ever like any like plans for like what the rest was gonna be? He was just like, oh yeah, the ending would have been probably like Stepney winning against Diesel 10. It's like I hadn't really thought about much till then.
Should we continue on doing the next page?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, let's go.
This is very good opening paragraph.
Oh,
but
one other bit before we move on. Sorry, I like the TV series version of this opening just because I think the shot of like the camera getting closer to the shed and all that is really cool.
Yeah, it does.
It's really good. I like it. I just fucking love the huge panning shot in the darkness. It's really nostalgic to me, because Best of James is one of my favorites. I've said this before multiple times in this, but fuck it, Best of James is a go-to DVD.
This was the first episode on it, right?
It was, yeah.
It's a really good opener.
It really does. It's cool.
It's fucking great.
Right.
Alright, now we can move on.
Time for a story.
I love that Gordon wakes up James just shit on him.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, wake up, James, here's your daily reminder that you're not shit.
What? Wake up.
Wake up,
It's a
James,
very
you want
Gordon
nothing.
thing to do, I think.
Wake up, James.
Yeah.
This is your reminder that you're beneath me. Now fetch my shit.
You there, James, fetch my coaches.
Know your place, James. It's beneath me.
It's underneath me. Now get under and suck. Sorry.
No. Moving on. I think the face James has here it sure is a face.
I think it's quite good.
Also, Benry.
He looks like he's boring. Like he's getting ready to like Kirby suck. Like, you know what I mean? I didn't
Anyway.
mean that in the sexual suck. I mean like in like the Kirby, like where you like or his like how like his mouth gets all
Inhales.
like yeah. Inhale.
He's gonna inhale Gordon to become... What copy ability would Gordon give?
Bitch.
But yeah, I'm honestly surprised that, like, this wasn't one of the faces that they did as, you know, in the huge batch of sleepy faces they made for the Season 1 characters.
Yeah, but
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I think like
when did they make Cantankerous Old Man James?
I think that was from Season 1.
yeah, I've seen like people say that like it was made in series 1.
I love the fact that we all know exactly what I mean when I say Cantankerous Old Man James.
Yeah,
could you
because
know
it,
that?
Absolutely,
because it is
that's
the-
what that is.
Because it is the best James.
I'm honestly surprised that they didn't, like, make this as, like, a James yawning face in the same way they did the Thomas and Gordon ones.
Oh yeah.
You know, they never used the Gordon one because it's horrifying, but, you know.
I wonder if it's like something they would have made if they like needed it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what stories they had that would require James to yawn. You know.
I don't know,
Also,
kinda made one up.
Benry is,
Could have used it
Benry
in
is
the
still
scene
sleeping.
where they could have used it in the scene where James woke up.
Instead of him just waking up sad.
Yeah.
I love
you
the
know.
I love the idea that James's face just shifts from sleeping to just immediately fully awake and depressed.
Yeah.
Henry's sleeping face here doesn't look too bad though.
Yeah,
Oh, Henry,
you
it's
know,
Benry.
Looks fine.
yeah. I see. If I were at a sleepover with Ben, I would draw a mustache on his face with a Sharpie.
We all thought Etienne was the first engine to have a mustache, but it was actually Benry.
Yeah, he grew one out after being outed as an imposter sus.
Yeah.
By the end of this book.
He's been shot out of the airlock. Gordon's hubris is kind of funny. Honest to God, I can't remember if there's anything else interesting to say about this page.
Yeah.
I remember as a kid just kind of liking the fact that Gordon is just talking at James.
Yeah.
Yeah, James hasn't even gotten to, like, say anything. Like, he hasn't gotten to say anything out loud. We're only told he said things in the last page. He hasn't even gotten a word in as far as, like, you know, we've actually heard against Gordon. You know, Gordon's just, like, talking at him
Yeah.
and not giving him, you know, room to speak for himself.
Yeah.
I think that's a very Gordon thing to do.
I
Yeah.
really love the like, oh, what are you doing? Odd jobs, miserable bitch.
Okay, you cunt. I'm the only one who calls people cunt around here. Cunt. Gotta get one.
I'm glad that we worked it in.
Tenuous and obscure cunt.
Bit achieved.
Hooray! Yeah.
Like Xbox like achievement thing appears in like the middle, like at the bottom. Achievement
Yeah.
bit.
Get.
Get equipped
Achievement, you
with
did the bit.
bit. The shed looks like it just disappears into a void of nothingness.
It looks like the wall is further away than it is in the image before this.
The shed seems like weirdly off center. Because like there's only the 3 tracks, but then there's like the two roof arches, and that looks like it's just way too big.
Well, Gordon's buffers also look off-center, so it's, you know,
I
it's
think-
consistent in being bad at least.
Yeah.
Also, speaking of art, both this page and the last both look like they were very heavily traced from the first illustration of Thomas and the Trucks.
I do like the colors that Dalby's used for it, though, the inside of the like how there's some like I think there's some like there's a bit of brown, green, and stuff in there. Very interesting mix of stuff.
I'm looking at the scan from the wiki, the colors definitely look they've been unnaturally saturated, and I can tell because the lining on Gordon's splasher is green, and it looks kind of like a yellowy greenish, and then
Yeah, he's blue
there's,
with
like,
yellow
some,
stripes.
like, the red on his boiler bands looks like it's almost orange, and the splasher is green. And then Henry's looks like it's got red with, like, a little bit of yellow, just in this wiki scan that I'm looking at. These old wiki scans are kind of mixed bag, so to speak.
Yeah, I'm just looking at my copy of fucking
I just want to say
collection.
quickly.
Train book.
I want to say quickly to anyone if anyone who like watches this happens to have access to the books and also a way to scan them, please put better scans on the wiki, please. We've been suffering for so
Please.
long.
Are there full
Please.
scans on the wiki, or are they just the
Wait, hang on. Didn't Tug release new
illustrations?
scans?
He did, yeah.
He did.
But they are very
Honestly, I'm not a
dark.
fan of, like, the... Yeah, I'm not... They look too dark. I'm not a fan of the color grading.
Yeah, like I feel like the best choice of action would just be to get someone who has like first edition copies of the books to scan the illustrations, because that way, you know, it's easily the closest thing to what was originally intended.
James went to get Gordon's coaches. They were now all shining with lovely new paint. He was careful not to bump them, and they followed him smoothly into the station, singing happily. "We're going away! We're going away!" "I wish I was going with you," said James. I should love to pull the express and go flying along the line." He left them in the station and went back to the yard, just as Gordon, with much noise and blowing of steam, backed onto the train.
I do like how we get to see character development from James here.
Yeah.
Because now he's not abusing the coaches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, his ego has definitely deflated since the bootlace incident. So, you know, that's positive.
I remember as a
Definitely.
kid weirdly liking the, like, "Oh, I wish I was going with you."
Yeah. It's
Yeah, like,
cute.
you know, he sounds so longing, you know?
It's very wistful.
I know the TV series ads. I think he just says, "I wish I was going away," which I forget if he says.
I
with
think
you.
they keep.
I'm
both
pretty sure it's the
lines.
same line in both.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's,
yeah.
it's the same line. He does
He's-
just say, I should love to pull the express and go flying along the line.
Oh, okay. I know he
Oh,
says. I know he says, like, I think he says before that, he said, "I wish I would go," he said, "I wish I was going away," and then, like, that. I forget. It's been, like, 3...
I watched it like an hour.
Oh, okay, my bad. Ignore me.
I like I can see Fat Controller Man standing on the platform.
Oh yeah, he's
Oh,
there.
shit, yeah.
Also, obviously, like, James himself doesn't look great, but I really like how they draw the station.
Yeah, it does. look
I'm not
really
quite
nice.
sure about this illustration, but I think this pick might be... The blocking might at least be inspired by the second picture in Thomas's train.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, I could see it a little bit more. I think more maybe the fourth illustration from Thomas's train.
It reminded me of the second illustration because it's James behind the coaches.
Yeah, that's true. I could see that a
You
little
know.
bit. I was more just thinking of very wide platform and the way that's angled.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I'm not really saying much. I don't know what to say for this
I
story.
don't think any of us have much of value to say about any of the stories in this book.
Yeah.
Yeah, this book is...
Oh wait,
It sure
I
is.
remember
think
something
we're,
from the
we're
last
all
page.
just kind of hoping to get to Tank Engine Thomas again.
yeah,
Yeah.
Tell Andrew.
definitely.
Yeah.
I have just remembered something from the last page though, and it was just that I was gonna quote, "Wake up, James! It's nearly time for the espresso."
Wake up, James! It's 3 a.m. Time for your dick flattening.
Oh no!
Yes, honey.
The espresso just made me think of
say,
Thomas
James,
Coffee Shop
wake
at you.
up. It's 3 in the morning. It is time for your dick flattening.
Oh boy, 3 a.m. Shall we move
Oh
on?
boy, 3 a.m. Here we fucking go.
The Fat Controller was on the train with other important people, and as soon as they heard the guard's whistle, Gordon started. "Look at me now, he puffed. and the coaches glided after him out of the station. Poop, 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 poop.
Goodbye, little James. See you tomorrow.
James watched the train disappear round a curve and then went back to work. He pushed some trucks into their proper sidings and went to fetch the coaches for another train.
This page, this illustration is it's a bit hilarious to me, because I'm only just realizing by looking at it, but like, James doesn't have any cab windows.
I just noticed that too.
But if you look close enough at the, the scan that we are putting on the screen, which is from the wiki, you can see like pencil markings for where a cab window is supposed to be.
There are outlines.
Yeah! You just fucking forgot!
I swear my copy's got outlines as well.
Oh my god, yeah, I see them too in my book.
It's not even like oh yeah, no, 6-year-old Andrew like penciled in the numbers on the engines. That very much is on this page as well. In fact, I actually don't think I erased any of the ones from James and the Express.
I'm reading a new book, so like this, I definitely didn't put mine in.
Literally just forgot to paint over the fucking thing. Wow, that's...
Yeah, that's so fucking wild.
That's fucking hilarious.
What else is hilarious is just, Gordon's boiler is an oval, and the faces look kind of terrible.
His face is like slightly tilted.
At the towers.
I like that you can see the sea.
Yeah, I like that there's a car driving by and people walking about. I think that's quite nice. That adds a lot of life to it.
Yeah. Everything else is there, though.
Come on, James,
That
let's
is
go
the
get
issue, isn't
tilted at the towers.
Come on, James, we're going to Tilted Towers.
You see, James, I too have depression. I too have
depression.
Unlike you, mine is not caused by depression. No, James, mine is because I stay up late and play so much Fortnite.
Sorry, that was more Fat Controller from me just then than it was Gordon. Yes, James, we're going to go to Tilted Towers. Well, Gordon, I sure do love playing Fortnite and having gay sex with you. So true, James.
Okay, so very quick question. This doesn't have to be in the podcast. Which Thomas character is which 06 fan dub character?
I feel like Diesel would be Mephiles.
Yeah, Diesel's absolutely Memphis, Tennessee.
Welcome to my
Fucking
house.
Thomas would
As you
have
can
to
see, I
be.
knocked over many chairs because I get so tilted at the towers.
Maybe Percy is Silver?
Yeah, I can see that.
That'd be cute.
Percy, you're a twink. How long have you been waiting to say that? The whole dub, baby.
So I'm guessing Thomas would
Honestly,
be...
I don't think Percy would be a twink. I think he'd be chubby.
Yeah, no,
Because that's his
not
shape.
Twink. Percy's not twink. I should know.
He's round. He is friend-shaped.
He is.
Humanized, like, Percy's, where, like, he has the, like chubby design and stuff are really cute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really like Sleepy Henry's humanized Percy because he has the really poofy hair.
Yeah, that was the main one I was thinking of,
good.
honestly.
That does so much for me.
It's very good. Sleepy Henry's humanizations are very good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think recently I found some fan art I did of their James, like, from 2018.
It's not gonna spank itself.
It's not gonna spank itself!
James, stop default dancing on my engine. Whatever you say, Mr. Receding Hairline.
Do we have anything else to say about this page?
I don't think so.
No.
No.
Other than that, it
things
looks a
are
bit like
happening.
James is chasing Gordon to tell him something important.
Gordon!
Yeah.
Gordon!
Like,
Okay,
hey,
well, fuck
Gordon,
you.
do you know what the signal bit
Gordon,
is?
you forgot your
Sorry,
safety
James, I
valve!
can't hear you.
They didn't reinstall your safety valve!
Gordon!
Gordon, have you played Raid Shadow Legends?
Gordon, I found a weirdly colored Pidgey, so I killed it. Do you know what that means?
Gordon, do you believe in destiny?
Gordon, if you could change your fate, would you?
Nothing personal, Gordon.
Nothing personnel, Gordon.
We need to go. We need to escape.
Yeah. I think this
We need
book
to
is
fucking
making
escape
us
to the next
even more
fucking
insane.
page.
This is the episode where the delirium from this book is really setting in.
But
no.
everybody watching this, we'll be back to like actually hopefully interesting commentary when we get to Tank Engine Thomas again.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I hope so.
We just lose the ability to
I
podcast after
really,
this.
I really feel like there's a lot more to say about Tank Engine Thomas again.
Oh yeah.
There's so much more to say because it's actually good. This book is just.
It's
Like,
fresh.
I have nostalgia for these stories. I really like James, but this book is just so barren.
These stories. This book is like the epitome of like stories that you remember really well, and like that like they're interesting in your head,
Yeah.
just not really in how
But
they
trying
were
to, like,
actually
get any
executed.
Yeah.
Trying to get any kind of serious analysis out of these stories is very difficult because there's
No one talks to each
they're-
other.
They're just
Yeah.
yeah.
Also,
I will
thing about this
say, for
illustration.
what it's worth,
Hmm?
I think the next page has some really fun character interaction.
Oh,
Yeah, I think
that
it'll
has some
pick
of
up
my
in a
favorite
couple
stuff.
pages, but
That
you
is some of
know.
my favorite stuff. But one last thing about this
Yeah.
illustration is that I'm quite surprised that the Skarloey Railway runs all the way to Tidmouth. I didn't know that.
Yeah, you can see the tracks look fucking tiny.
Double tracked too. God, they don't do that on the Skarloey. Fucking hell.
Yeah, like you'd think it was the fucking CGI railway Skarloey.
Exactly. With how it's just double tracked at station, so Duncan and Rheneas can actually talk to each other.
What if it's
Goodness.
Double tracked. It's double tracked everywhere. I'm pretty sure it's triple tracked on Gordon's Hill, or not. Technically not Gordon's Hill. Just they probably redressed Gordon's Hill for that one set in Duncan the Humbug. Because
Oh yeah.
every hill is a fucking like 45-degree angle for these trains.
You know what I think would actually be pretty cool for like that you could actually use like that as kind of a basis for. You know, like those really tiny, like minimum gauge railways that like they just kind of go backwards and forwards along a seafront.
There might be one of those at Tidmouth, maybe.
Yeah.
I think there is in the
funny.
magazine
Oh, no.
stories.
I just doubt that it would be like within.
Yeah, it wouldn't be right next to the main line.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
like,
there's no way it'd be on like the Northwestern Railway.
On their
That wouldn't
property.
be. Yeah.
Do you want to go on a big world adventure, Rainy? Me neither.
No.
Okay, let's actually move on.
He brought the coaches to the platform and was just being uncoupled when he heard a mournful, quiet shh, 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 shh. And there was Gordon, trying to sidle into the station without being noticed. "Hello, Gordon. Is it tomorrow?" asked James. Gordon didn't answer. He just let off steam feebly. "Did you lose your way, Gordon?" "No, it was lost for me," he answered crossly. I was switched off of the main line onto the loop. I had to go all around and back again." "Perhaps it was instinct," said James brightly.
I like this bit.
So
Here
this
we
this
go. Here we
I
fucking
love this
go.
bit.
All right.
I love God. I fucking love this.
Yeah,
this whole
is
thing.
awesome.
It's like karma hitting Gordon like a bus. James just the tables have turned. James is now being smug to him.
Every opportunity.
James also appears to have lost his back coupling hook in this illustration. And this illustration in general is just pretty not good.
I genuinely love the "Hello, Gordon. Is it tomorrow?"
Perhaps
That's
it
one of
was
my favorite lines ever.
instinct.
It's very good.
I think my dad
Almost
will
makes the story
occasionally
worth
still,
it, honestly.
Also,
My dad
perhaps
will still occasionally quote, "Perhaps it was instinct."
Perhaps it was instinct.
Nice.
That sounds
James
like
looks like he
because
has a
he's doing
fucking.
George Carlin's version of it.
James looks like he has a giant Tommy tender.
He does.
Trackmaster talking, James. Actually,
No, it's Hornby James.
Oh yes, of course.
This is a small thing, but I love how this bit is shot in, like, the TV series. Like, for some reason, I just always like that
it's
shot of,
really
like,
good.
Gordon just trying to, like, sneak into the station.
It's his face.
Yeah,
that
but he
makes
can't
it.
because he's a giant-ass steam locomotive.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's his face that makes it for me. Just that big fucking gormless frown. With
Yeah.
like that is easily my favorite Gordon face, and like I have so many favorite Gordon faces because they're all just so good. Those eyebrows on it as well in the series one, they're perfect. They have yet to be.
It's
topped.
amazing. Impeccable.
I think this is
I love
probably
it.
like the best page in the book.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes, if only because it's time to talk about the elephant in the room.
Ah, yes.
The loop line.
The loop line.
So apparently on Sodor, there is a loop line, which, Gordon exits, he exits Tidmouth and then manages to, like, loop back into the station. And it's just never on any map, ever.
It got
And
taken
Audrey
down.
never put it on any of his maps for some reason. Both that and the station between Tidmouth and Knapford is just what happened to them? Where did they go?
The station
Edward,
went
well-
bankrupt when the town closed because of a terrible accident involving a tomato sauce tanker. And,
Oh no!
And then,
And wagons of meatballs.
the loop was removed because they kept accidentally sending engines through it. And then they were just like, why do we even have this thing? We have a turntable, like, not too far. Because there's a turntable by the sheds, right?
There's a turntable at Tidmouth.
Yeah, there's a turntable at the sheds. I don't know why do they need a loop line?
They
see,
removed it because
now-
they realized it was pointless.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I'm pretty sure that's the in-universe reason. Then why is it not marked on any map with, like, the little closed line thing?
It's because the Rev thought it was a stupid fucking idea just after this book was published and was like, right, I am never... this was a mistake. This was a fucking mistake.
That is...
Eraser for big... He took the eraser for big mistakes to it.
But he makes so many other, like, weird illustration and story inconsistencies canon, too. Like the fucking, Thomas's running board dip, Henry's design weirdness. He made all of those canon, too. Why not the loop line?
I guess because no one
one
asked
wrote
him
to him about the
directly
loop
about...
line.
Yeah.
I'm gonna travel back in time and write him about the loop line.
You will incur his wrath.
Okay,
Just
genuine
destroy
thing.
history.
This is a really genuine thing. If I had the power to time travel, I would absolutely consistently use it to just send Audrey letters and regarding random bullshit and see how the Railway series changes.
Same, honestly. Either that or just stealing a bunch of obscure Thomas merchandise when it's new in stores.
Yeah, I would steal several of Wooden Railway Big City Engine and the Spiteful Brake Van.
I would go back in time and collect all of the Whiteface's troublesome trucks before they make it into circulation, so nobody can know.
Nobody will ever have it.
What you gotta do is, buy up all of them so no one can ever have them, and then just make a video revealing that it's a thing, and then throw them all into a fire.
Just go all fucking Mermaid Monopoly Monday on their asses.
There were like 3...
Watch Tropical Rouge Pretty Cure. It's good.
I want to, honestly.
It's very good. They don't have a talking fairy this time. They have a talking mermaid and a non-talking fairy. It's very good.
I'd like to have a go at a preacher. I'd like to give one a proper spin.
Yeah, it's good. There's only like 4 of them available for legal streaming. 6 if you want to count the ones Saban turned into a nightmare.
The letter for.
Yeah.
What's bad about that one?
It's not a good time.
Do you think the whole loop line thing is something that if the book wasn't rushed as it supposedly was, he would have actually wrote around that?
I mean, honestly, I don't see another way for this story to work without the loop line, because the
Yeah.
entire point, Gordon disregards the signalman, he gets it on the loop line and goes back into the station where he came from. I feel like you can only really do that with the loop line.
They could maybe have it they send him down Thomas's branch line and send James to go fetch him.
Yeah, but it wouldn't be as funny.
Yeah.
Just Gordon trying to sneak into the station is it's such a funny visual.
Yeah.
I don't want
It's so
I don't want to get rid of that.
It's I think the loop line is stupid, but I think its existence is necessary because I really like Is It Tomorrow?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna play into the bit and say that Edward's dimension where he sends things that he unexists is the loop line, which also includes the station that was between Tidmouth and Knapford.
No, you see, the loop line didn't exist before today. That's why the signalman put Gordon down the wrong way. It was Edward sensed it's like, I think someone needs some thematically relevant karmic justice. And then he willed the loop into existence.
What you're saying is Edward is Sodor's talk shit, get hit aura.
Yes, because he's
he is
god.
The person who orchestrates all of these things that happens.
That's why nothing happens to him.
Yeah. Because he controls all. We are slaves to his whims.
Now, for all of you Railway Series Iceberg fans who may be listening, here is my thesis. The loop line dimensional rift. I thought it sounded funny.
And it also plays into the jokes that we've had on this podcast. So
yeah, which purely is a coincidence.
Yeah.
Because I think I fucking put that down on the iceberg before we'd even started recording James and the Top Hat. Probably I think it might have been a little bit.
Yeah,
before
that predates when we started recording. It's just really fucking funny.
Yeah.
I did just think it was funny, but to sort of justify, there is no loop line.
There is no war in Bossing Say.
I'm just fucking picturing the ref saying that. There is no loop line. Grinning.
I've never watched.
I
don't actually really know the context of There Is No War in Bossing Say. I just know that that's like a joke.
It's basically exactly
you should watch
what
Avatar: The Last
like.
Airbender. It's very good.
Yeah.
This is the thing. I want to watch it.
I haven't seen Avatar in
Mari.
years, and I know the joke.
I want to watch it with Mari because I know she really likes the series.
Yeah.
Gas.
What we know as the loop line is merely a dimensional rift. Gordon was indeed.
It's the Magic Railroad! That's all the Magic Railroad is a dimensional rift.
So I'm adding the Magic Railroad is canon to the iceberg?
That's why Edward wasn't in the movie.
It's because he was hiding in the loop line.
Yeah, he was just enjoying his pocket dimension.
It's like a weird tunnel, but also a crack. Very colorful crack.
Like the fucking in reality that show up in the 11th Doctor series.
Yeah, like the 11th hour.
I finally finished that shit, and I'm so happy to be done with it, because the latter half of that season just fucking...
Oh yeah, now you can get on to
the specials were fine, the very last episode was fine, everything from Angels in Manhattan to before... Well, actually that one episode with the Strax and company are fine, but everything else between those episodes... I didn't have fun.
I liked finding out that there was only one Ice Warrior in Cold War by way of a tweet. And realizing that, all of the times in calls and on this podcast that I've gone, oh yeah, the Ice Warriors come back in that one, I've been wrong. And really just...
It's Ice Warrior singular.
Oh yes, an Ice Warrior came back in this one.
It's turning you into the Joker.
We really do live in a society.
If we're speaking generally, I've been the Joker for fucking years. I'm the Joker, baby.
No, you can't be though. The fandom Joker is Turtles. Haven't you watched the video?
Well, I know that he wears clothes.
I would hope he does.
Versus the alternative.
That's it. So Gordon goes into the crack, and then it just comes right back out.
Gordon just stops. I have seen unspeakable terror,
and then just gets mind wiped seconds after, or his memories are manipulated to make him believe that there was a loop line, and reality sort of bends around that for a minute. For just 1 minute, for that scene in the station, and then that's it. Boom, no more loop line.
That's why he comes out with that gormless frown, just because of what's happened to him.
See, the idea of Gordon just stopping to reflect on the horrors he's seen is just the one clip from DuckTales where
Launchpad's been to the future and just like, I've been to the future. I've seen how the world ends. Yeah, it was cool. See you later.
Oh my god.
That's kind of how Gordon was. Like, he was like horrified, then his mind just got erased.
With a snap of Edward's soft shoe buffer hand.
This is the thing. At this particular point in the Railway series lore, Edward is in a dark meeting room, and he's like facing away from a door that opens to like a pillar of light, and he's like, I knew you'd come eventually. And he turns around in like a chair, and it's just Sammy the Shunter.
Oh, fuck. I'm glad that you picked up
me.
on that being what I was fucking referencing with soft shoe hands and paff. Because I continually forget that those jokes sort of leaked into the public.
Do we want to move on?
Yes, let's move on.
Yes. Yeah, that's...
I feel like I'm fucking...
This is the
I'm
closest...
bleeding out on the pavement.
I feel like I'm on another plane of existence right now.
Yeah, we're in the loop line.
Well, that's what the loop line does to you. Exactly. That's how they get you.
Okay, that makes sense. Let's keep going.
The longer we talk about it, the more
next
power
page.
we give it, so we need to move on.
Exactly. That's why the Rev didn't talk about it at all.
Meanwhile, all the passengers hurried to the booking office. We want our money back, they shouted. Everyone was making a noise, but the Fat Controller climbed on a trolley and blew the guard's whistle so loudly that they all stopped to look at him. Then he promised them a new train at once. Gordon can't do it, he said. Will you pull it for us, James? Yes, sir, I'll try. So James was coupled on and everyone got in. This illustration is fucking horrendous.
Yeah,
especially
it's really
compared
bad.
to the last one. What the fuck
like the last
happened?
one was bad,
what
but this
the
one is
fuck?
just...
James
How
looks
do you-
like a completely different engine.
How do you get worse?
What perspective does to a motherfucker.
What trying to actually draw in perspective does to Dalby. Fucking hell. No wonder this dude gave up so fucking much. Jesus.
Yeah. The only redeeming feature of this illustration is I like that you can see the glow of the fire in James's cab. It's just a shame that James's cab is just so fucking misshapen and terrible.
He looks like he's broad gauge.
Yeah.
10-foot
He
gauge.
looks, if you looked at him from the other side, just the other half of his wheels would be clipping into the platform.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna
Oh,
try
it's
to
like CGI
make
series.
the joke.
Yeah.
Pretty much. It's that shot in what's it? Fucking
Duck in the
Samson-
water, where you can
No.
clearly see.
No.
Oh.
Sorry, that was very abrupt. I'm really sorry for that. That was
It's okay.
fucking hell. That was cold.
No.
My God. My God.
It's okay.
No, it's the shot from fucking Samson at Your Service where James's body is just set several fucking feet to the left of the rest of him, just completely off his chassis.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I could see it fucking clear as day as Samson puffs away with the express coaches.
I never noticed that. I'm gonna need to see that.
I noticed that when I was 14.
I am really thinking now about, like, oh, it's just like Duck in the Water. No.
Well, I was thinking that one, like, remember in Duck in the Water when they, they show Duck at Tidmouth Station, and he's just Knapford's... I'm doing the opposite thing now.
It's okay. You're being correct, just in the wrong way.
You okay?
This episode is doing shit to me.
I'll ever just die.
I fucking hate this book,
But
dude.
let's at least try to save our dying for when we're done with the episode.
I feel really bad.
It's okay.
I feel bad that we put you into James the Red Engine and not, like, a good book.
Yeah, well
But
I
you know
feel
what?
like as an
I'm okay
apology
with
we should
this.
let you... I think as an apology we should let you come on to the next book just so you can be there for a good one.
Okay.
Uh,
I'll fucking read every story. No.
I mean, yeah, no, I'm gonna read all of them because I love that book, but
Go
you're happy.
fucking head.
You're welcome to come along.
We're gonna get like 10 books from now, and Andrew will just still be here.
Yeah. You never. Yeah, we'll get to like fucking the twin engines, and I'll be like, yeah, I'm still here. They never put me in the Thomas vault.
They keep putting you in,
they
but
thought
you
they
keep
succeeded,
escaping.
but it turns out, I was there all along.
You know, like that one clip from The Simpsons where like he throws him out of the bar and then like the camera
Yes!
changes and he's just behind him.
Yeah, no, I think I actually referenced that as well when we first were doing the Thomas vault bit. Like, Mo throwing Barney out of the tavern only for Barney to still actually be there with the camera
I'm
pans
a
over.
drunk. I don't know how I do anything.
What the fuck is happening anymore? Have we even gone to the next
What the
page?
fuck? What were we trying to like? Did we have
Okay.
anything to say about this page,
All
or are we
right.
just?
I think I was gonna say that Jamie talked about James's tender being too big in the last illustration has been adjusted, except wrong, because now James is as big as his tender, probably bigger, and it's been made worse because now he is clipping into the fucking platform, and
Look,
Gordon is
Don't be mean to James because he's dummy thick.
No, he's not just dummy thick, he's longer. And he's a different shape. His cab looks like cut differently and everything. It's so weird.
Like the lining stretches up to the top of his cap now. Like,
Yeah.
it's wrong. It's just
That's
all
a-
wrong.
Like
That's something they don't do till Kenny takes over. Like, goddamn.
I
Slow down,
I get
bitch.
that Dalby like didn't really care all that much about the books, but like surely it couldn't have been that hard to keep the fucking lining and shit consistent.
I feel like everything in this
I think
book
it's only
was
shaped
rushed.
like. Yeah, looking at a scan of this illustration now, I'm pretty sure his cab's only shaped like that just so he could have like his driver just sort of leaning along the side.
Wow.
Oh god. Oh wait. Oh, there's lots of like splotches
Where's
of
his
darker red
fireman?
there, so I feel like it might have been painted over.
Oh,
Like I'm
So-
sort of.
oh my
sort of,
god, I
like,
can see it,
visualizing
see
how
it,
this
look-
could have come together. Like.
the guard was once a lot bigger, or not guard. Whoever the fuck's in the cab was once a lot bigger, wasn't he?
Could have been, because I see like sort of vague shape of head, perhaps.
I
but
see that too actually.
This shit's fucked up. We need to escape.
Gordon's ass is like fucking weird.
Small.
I
You
will-
see,
I will-
Gordon's ass mass went into jeans.
Should we go to the
Like-
next page?
Yeah, but I will say just real quick, my favorite thing in this illustration is just the fat controller on the luggage trolley,
That part's
waving
good.
his arms like, oh.
I wish the duck was in this book just so that he could use duck as a podium.
Yeah. Yes.
Duck on the platform as a podium.
I do have one question.
Yeah,
Why couldn't Gordon take the train?
because he's currently standing behind it.
Yeah, no time to run around.
He is facing the inside of the station. He can't move until the coaches are taken away. They might as well take the coaches
Yeah.
where they need to be and just leave Gordon where he is.
Yeah,
Yeah, true.
it's kind of exactly like End of the Beginning, where Edward just takes the fat director and the other directors home in the horse box,
I hate
just
the
without the
thoroughbred.
horse box. I hate his thoroughbred. Also, there's a poster advertising Brighton, or as it looks a bit more like here, Drayton.
It looks like it says Dryketon.
Drip.
That Dripton.
James sure does have a lot of drip.
Next page. Question.
Yeah.
Yes,
Let's
please.
Do your best, James, said the fat controller kindly. Just then, the whistle blew, and he had to run to get in. Come along, puffed James. You're pulling as well, sang the coaches. Hurry, 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 puffed James. Stations and bridges flashed by. The passengers leaned out of the windows and cheered, and they soon reached the terminus. Everyone said thank you to James. Well, John, said the fat controller. Would you like Chipotle Express sometimes? Yes, please, answered James happily.
I love how in the TV series version, like, you know, he pulls the train to the end of the line and is just fucking, like,
Wellsworth.
Marin.
Yeah. because apparently they supposedly production-wise they only have stuff on the one side of the island in the show, but not in the show, in series 1.
Wasn't Vickerstown
Which is
in
bullshit,
series 1?
because Off the Rails is Vickerstown Sheds.
Yeah, off the rails is Vickerstown Sheds, and fucking Lower Tidmouth or whatever. Lower Tidmouth is clearly based on the station that's supposed to be like Crosby or Kildane or whatever. Or Kronk.
Yeah, it's Kronk.
One of them.
I know, the one in Edward's Day Out.
I
Yeah.
think the furthest we ever get in the model series is Kelsthorpe Road.
Yeah, we didn't get Vickerstown in the TV series for a long time.
Yeah.
Wait, no,
We get
Crovan's
it-
Gate, actually.
Oh yeah, Crovan's
Yeah,
Gate.
Crovan's Gate. Crovan's Gate's like quite close to Vickerstown.
I still don't understand why they built 2 shed sets.
Yeah, I don't get why...
Well, one is Vickerstown Sheds.
Did they ever use Vickerstown Sheds after season 1?
No.
Nope.
No. I mean, if you want to be technical, it technically shows up in fucking Big World Big Adventures in that one shot where they show Henry and Rosie in a shed together, but that's probably just like a fucking shed from the shunting yards that they're just like, conveniently redressing the set of to make it look more like Vickerstown, or just, conveniently angling the camera so we don't actually see, oh, this isn't Vickerstown.
I may be wrong. I think they used the prop, like the 5-road Vickerstown shed prop, in the background of, I don't know what to call it, but it's like that area where, Rheneas comes back in season 4.
Oh yeah, in at
yeah.
Crovan's Gate.
Yeah.
It could be. It could be.
Maybe.
That, or it's just they just got the fucking Tidmouth Sheds building and put the fucking like castle stylings on the front, because I think it does have like the big like brick extension in the back that they gave the prop in series 4.
I honestly don't understand why they needed 2 shed sets to begin with, because, it doesn't really affect any of the stories they tell.
Maybe they just didn't really want to have, like, the ditch on the main set.
James's train looks really long. I really like the sequence in the TV series where he just pulls the train. It's cool.
I do like this illustration
It is
quite a bit.
enjoy. Yeah, it's a good illustration, The train looks, ridiculously long, but, it's early Dalby. What are you gonna do?
James himself looks at least somewhat proportional.
Yeah. He kind of looks like he has a little bit of his classic smile, like from the first illustration.
I think James looking remotely proportional here really is just quite a lucky success on Dalby's part here.
Yeah, also,
The first page is
looking at
really
this
fucking
illustration,
long.
the dome, it looks like it's supposed to be center, but it's a little bit further forward on the boiler, and I'm wondering if that's why the dome on James's model isn't centered.
It isn't?
It
Oh
could
my
very
god,
well
it probably
be.
is.
Yeah.
They saw this illustration and thought it went in, between the front and center boiler
Wait, hang on,
vents.
James's dome isn't centered?
No, it's not.
It's between the first 2 boiler
Why the
vents.
fuck did you tell me that? I hate that.
Yeah, well, I hate it too, and it's not... I don't gain anything from this.
I don't mind it, honestly. It's very upsetting, but I don't mind it.
I mean, I can live with it, but,
What's up, Mari?
I said it's on every piece of merch, though. Looking across the room at my B. James on his shelf, which he's
Right.
on.
Mari, I want you to know I'm going to sneak into your house one day and hit that thing with a fucking hammer.
Okay, I would hope you would do other things if you somehow got into my house.
What kind of
Heyo!
what kind of other things, Mari? Please tell the class in excruciating detail.
I meant, just say hi, because we've never seen each other in person before, so, I'd hope you do that before smashing my stuff.
No, this is the thing. I need to go and smash James, because I
Well.
know if I see you first, I'll feel bad.
Yeah, so maybe you shouldn't do it.
But my B. James is a blight. I must cure you.
Here's the thing. Right now I have Bachman B. James next to Take and Play B. James, and I need more to add to my collection.
Just find the Wooden Railway B. James.
They're so expensive!
Which is the goated one, because it has the angry face.
I want one, but they're so expensive. For some reason, the wooden one and the Trackmaster one are both really expensive.
Well, the Trackmaster one I understand, because the Playrail reselling market is fucked up.
No, but even the Trackmaster one... Because it was released in...
Like, even the recent Trackmaster one?
That one lesser so, but, like, the original one, like, even the Trackmaster version of the original one.
Shit's fucked.
Yeah.
Well, apparently the recent Trackmaster version includes a collector's card.
I actually have the original Trackmaster B. James, but specifically ripped in half so that he's not connected to his tender.
Why?
Well, so the wire broke, as, you know, we've all been through that with a Tomy engine at least once.
Yeah.
So,
Tyler James, Edward...
B. James was the only engine that ever got fixed of mine, because somebody I knew fixed it for me. And then he broke again, and then I was like, well, I don't talk to that person anymore, so you're useless to me, so I just ripped him in half.
Yes. So the only one of the new B. Jameses on eBay is $50. The Trackmaster one goes
stupid.
for around
Jesus.
$60.
Thomas will never have a non-corrupt resale market. Anyway, let's talk about happier things. Like, James gets to pull the express sometimes.
He does.
Hooray!
Yay!
He achieved a good.
Happy!
James
Yeah.
for the first time in his life was not a failure.
Yeah. Well, I mean, second time actually, because, like, the last story had him succeed. But, you know, you take what you can get.
2 in a row.
Yeah.
See, this is the thing. James, like, oh yeah, 2 in a row. I didn't fuck up twice, and now I can relax a bit. And then that's why he just started failing again.
He became...
This is the thing. This is the point where he truly became James. Like, before we've been seeing, like, the beginning of James. Like, I guess James's origin story of how he became so very, very James. Now we've reached the point where he is wholly James. And by that I mean he's
I guess.
By that I mean he's wholly a fuck up.
That is something. I do really wish this book did more to, like, actually give an arc. Because, like, everyone... Like, I don't even mean this as, like, a Railway series, like, bashing thing. But, like, everyone always says, like, oh, like, we talked about this a few episodes ago. Like, James was so much better there because he had an arc and stuff. And it's like, he really doesn't? Like, I
don't really hear people talk about that with James so much as I do with, like, you know, the Gordon and Henry. It definitely doesn't help that James's book is way worse than the books dedicated to the arcs of Gordon and Henry. Henry the Green Engine is kinda mid, but there's at least things of interest to talk about it, you know. Gordon gets a lot of development through the entire Railway series, so there's, like, no shortage of things to talk about with regards to him. James's arc in this book is very weak, and it is definitely a product of Audrey just having to shove this book out on a schedule.
Yeah. Next day, when James came by, Gordon was pushing some trucks in the yard. I like some quiet work for a change, he said. I'm teaching these trucks manners. You did well with those coaches, I hear. Good. We'll show them. And he gave his trucks a bump, making them cry, oh, 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 oh. Ooh. James and Gordon are now good friends. James sometimes takes the express to give Gordon a rest. Gordon never talks about bootlaces, and they are both quite agreed on the subject of trucks.
See, you know, I just ignoring the fact that Gordon being like, oh, this quiet work is fine for a change, like, Is that him, like, trying to save face, or does he actually feel that way?
I think he's trying to save face, because he is still very much talking at James.
Yeah.
In the Johnny Morris reading, it's very much like he's very like nervous and like, oh shit, oh no, I don't want James to see this. But in the TV series, he's like smiling about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess they tried to, like, do that kind of spin on it, despite the fact Gordon is very clearly upset in this illustration.
Oh yeah.
I do think a fun trait. It'd be kind of like a fun trait if Gordon, like, secretly, like, kind of enjoyed it.
Yeah, that'd be neat. You know.
Oh yeah.
It definitely would make more sense for them to become friends if Gordon was, like, you know, fine with the quiet work like he says he is.
Yeah.
I don't remember
You
what
know.
the video was, but there was some video where the Fat Controller's like sends Gordon to go shunting, and he's like, come on, I thought you enjoyed quiet work. I said that once!
That'd be fun.
So, you know, just ignoring that, like, you know, this is a fine ending and all, but, like, I do kind of have to wonder, like, James and Gordon now being very good friends, is that really a good thing?
Yeah.
Is that really a good note to end this on, considering, like, how we know this'll, like, you know, easy to see them being friends as, like, you know, a positive thing because, like, you know, friendship is good and stuff. But considering that they're both kind of, like, assholes, and now they're, like, you know, in league in assholery for future stories, is that really a good thing?
Well, it is exactly like you just said. They're now in league with each other for future stories. They sort of enable each other, you know?
Yeah, I would say it's very much a good thing for us,
Yeah.
at least.
It's a good thing for stories,
at least
maybe
for the-
not for the others.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It's a very good thing, at least for the Rev to do more things with.
Yeah.
But I feel like this, as an ending, is kind of similar to how James and the Top Hat just ends with... but James was worried about what the Fat Controller would say about his top hat. Like, it's very...
I don't know. I don't know if I'd say that, because, like, this is definitely a more complete ending.
That's
It feels
true.
a lot more
That's
like
true.
Troublesome Trucks, where, like, you know, it does have a proper ending, it's just not very, like, you know...
It's not very strong.
Yeah, like, you know, I think it is... I feel like the story is at least on par with Troublesome Trucks for me in terms of, like, you know, not being a complete story and not being the absolute worst, but...
I do like how Gordon does just take his sort of frustrations out on the trucks. It's a very... It's a very nice parallel to James also just, like,
Yeah.
being fucking abusive towards the trucks in the last story.
I never even
Yeah,
thought of that, but I
you
like
know,
that.
That's good.
Very Gordon thing to do, you know.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
I think this ending is sweet, but, like, I do think it does suffer from the fact, and the story as a whole kind of suffers from the fact that Gordon, like, they don't interact before this story. Like, Gordon doesn't appear at all, and then it's like they barely interact in this story except for, like, the one good scene and James saying yes please.
I think one of the big failures of this story is this book is it tries to do the thing that Thomas the Tank Engine does of showing James interact with all the other characters, but it doesn't really put the effort in to actually show how any of them interact.
Honestly, I wouldn't even say that it does that.
Yeah.
Because, like, you know, he interacts with Edward a good bit. He interacts with Gordon in this story. You know, he kind of interacts with Henry at the beginning, but honestly, you could probably just, you know, you could omit him, and, you know, we wouldn't really miss much besides the tunnel reference.
It's
Yeah,
like really
Thomas.
And then he talks to
half-assed.
Thomas for, like, 1 second, and then Thomas isn't in the rest of the book.
Well,
So, like,
Thomas
it-
talks at him for a second.
Yeah, like,
And then he
it definitely does not do as good a job of establishing James's dynamic with the rest of the cast as the last book did.
Yeah, and also, like you said, Benry could be completely erased from this story, and just
Yeah.
nothing would be lost or gained.
Do you think that, like, this book having the kind of the whole, like, James, like, barely interacting with anyone, like, not really, like, just having much in general, I guess, here. Do you think that's part of why, like, he's probably, like, one of the least used of the original 7 in the railway series, if not the most?
It might be, honestly. I think it took a long time for Audrey to, like, get a handle on what James is supposed to be like. Because, like, once he starts being used more consistently, like, you know, after, say, like, Dirty Objects, I feel like he nailed James.
Yeah, no,
from then on
I don't think it's that he writes James poorly. I honestly really enjoy all the stories he has in the rest of, at least the Reverend Wilbert's Railway series. We'll get to James and the Diesel someday. But, anyway, like, I just, like, he definitely has the least to do out of the main, like, 6 or 7, and it's, I wonder if that is partially because of this, or, I don't know.
Maybe. I feel like I would give this story the same thing I gave the last story. So it's Percy. I think it's fine. You know, it's a complete story. It, you know, it does the thing. It's fine for what it is. It's just, it's lacking a bit.
Yeah.
Just, you know, overall, like the rest of this book.
I'm similar. I just gave it, I think I have in my, or no, I didn't just put it's fine like I did the last one, but I just have it out of James because it's like I really don't have anything strong enough to rate it higher or lower, because it's like there's a good scene here, there's a good ideas, and yeah, it's a Thomas story that exists.
Yeah, I'll say Percy because, like, I really enjoy the "Hello, Gordon, is it tomorrow?" page. Like, I think that's a lot of fun, and I really feel like this book, and, like, this story especially, have a lot of potential that could have really been tapped if Audrey had more time to really nail the story down, and I think that page is a good showcase of, I guess, what could have been. So I'm gonna give it a 6 because I feel like 6 is there is some small moniker of good here.
That's fair.
I'm gonna side with Liv on this one. I would also give it a Percy for similar reasons that I was wanting to articulate, but honestly, she said them better than me, so yeah.
It'd be like that sometimes.
Yeah, it do. I think this is the story I enjoyed most throughout this entire book, and it really is just because of the "Is it tomorrow?" page.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I feel like this is probably the best story in the book. Just, you know, it's got that going for it, but also, like, you know, maybe this is just me, but I do like it. It was probably just nostalgia for the TV version, but I really do enjoy the I enjoy the story on TV. It's fun.
It's fun.
And I feel like this, you know, in the book it's fun too. It's just, this story just as a story is just kind of like
it's
fine.
Oh boy, let's go and read the James book. Oh.
Clueless.
Yeah. Bearers of the curse.
Over here
Today I will guest on the Railway Series Book Club for James the Red Engine, Bearer of the Curse.
Over here we have someone who managed to make it through James the Red Engine without falling asleep. I'm so bored. He hasn't recovered.
So if you want to, like, steamroll on into the full book rankings,
Actually, there was one point I wanted to make. And it was just that it's very interesting that this is probably the funniest story in the entire book. So it's very, very interesting that it's the one that I like most.
Yeah.
Very, very interesting how that happens.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It does a lot. You know, it's almost like Audrey's sense of humor is pretty good, and when he actually uses it, it enhances the stories.
At least for me, like, I've rambled about this a lot in the past, so I won't, like, go into it, but, like, Thomas kind of lives and dies on character interactions and all of that for me, and this story has that the most of any of these books, which I guess is like just the natural result of when like you put two very strong in personality characters like James and Gordon together. You're like, even if you're not trying, you're gonna get like some fireworks.
Yeah. They're just those kinds of engines.
You're gonna get at least a shot from a flare gun.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know?
Which one of Gordon and James would die in the duel?
Probably James. You know.
Yeah, I feel like James would come in with more firepower, but like he would like
if
run
we're
out all
talking
of his
pure
guns.
firepower, Gordon is way more powerful than James is. But also, Gordon has a stronger will than James, I think.
I feel like James the kind of person that like if he went into a gunfight, like he'd come in with like shit tons of machine guns and stuff, and then like run them all out in a second.
Firstly, I think that in a duel, in the traditional sense, Gordon would obliterate James like the twink he is.
Yeah.
But also, because I've watched through the entire series all of 2 times now, I, at this point, for the most part, strictly think of duels in an Utena sense, where it's very, where it's all very emotionally driven, and usually, whoever is having, like, the deepest emotional struggle is the one who loses the duel.
Yeah. That's how it be.
And honestly, I would apply that to this if James the Red Engine as a book even remotely had that much depth.
See, now I'm just thinking about Gordon and James having like a Yu-Gi-Oh duel.
Looks like you're going to the Shadow Realm, James.
I'm not well versed enough in the game to know what kind of decks they'd run, but I think James would run something just fucking terrible.
James,
buy what cards
like
look
not terrible as in bad, but terrible as in like terrible to play against.
James's deck doesn't have any synergy. He just threw cards that he liked the drawings of into like a pile.
Well, no, that'd be how Percy makes his deck. James, I think, would like pick a strategy that's obnoxious and be like, "Yes, I'm going to flaunt this," because that's just how he is.
This one looks gay. I will go for it.
Yeah.
Should we move on to book ratings?
You're being sent to the Shadow Realm,
Yes,
little James.
Oh
shit! Okay.
Book ratings. I'm going first. I give it a James. It is just... I can't bring myself to rate it lower than 3 Railway Engines, but I can't bring myself to rate it higher than 3 Railway Engines. Because it really is a step down from both the books. It's very mid. Not that into it, just like going through and reading it through this podcast. It's barren. Definitely needed more time in the oven. And it's a shame, because James is a really good character in all the later stories. So, if we lived in an alternate universe where James had a book written about him, like maybe a couple years later, or maybe even just a year later, and Audrey had more time to write it, I feel like this could have been a good book. But this just... it was fine.
Yeah.
That's my take. It's a James.
It does surprise me that this book had technically 2 years of like development, because it's just like it doesn't feel that way.
Yeah, this feels like it was like made in like, I don't know, a little bit less than a year.
Honestly, like I wrote down Henry in my notes after like I watched and like listened to the episode, and it's like honestly at this point I kind of stand by it because it's just boring, really, and it's like I feel like that's almost worse than it being like even memorably bad, because there's really nothing here that like I really like beyond like concepts and like one scene. Yeah.
I like, if I can go next, for my rating, let me give you a song. You see, he's a really splendid engine, everybody knows, but he does go on and on and on, always telling us so. My rating is James.
Yeah.
Because...
I was gonna...
yeah,
That's
I wanted to do
James.
that. I wanted to do That's James,
This James.
but like I didn't remember how the song ended, and I wanted to do the like just saying the lyrics.
Shiny, shiny engine. He's really splendid engine. That's our James. Da, 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 da.
So
James.
so with this book, I really feel like it's kind of a nothing book. Like, stuff happens, but there aren't really any real stories of interest. But at the same time, I really feel like there is potential here. Like, I think these stories, if they were given the time they needed, could have probably not been amazing, but they could have been at least enjoyable. And I think they could have been, like, probably low, mid-tier origin stories. I think if they were given the time they really needed. And there's a few fun moments in it, like we've gone on about the hello, is it tomorrow? And that's a really fun bit. And
Yeah.
I have a lot of nostalgic attachment to these stories, so like I don't want to give it a low rating, but I don't think it deserves a particularly high rating. So I'm gonna go with That's Our James, diddle-diddle-doo, James.
Can I add one thing? Because I actually
This
kind of changed mine.
What's up?
I think...
Oh?
Because, like, I've said this in the past, but, like, on, like, a 1 to 10, or Thomas to Douglas scale, like, 5 or James for me is just dead in the middle, dead. Like, there's probably
Dead
some...
in the water.
Kinda. There's probably some, like, good, there's, like, a little
Awesome,
bad,
man.
but, like, nothing really strong enough for me to go in either direction. And I think dropping it, like, 2 whole points from that is a bit too harsh, because, like, there's nothing really outright that, like, I really dislike about this book. I just don't have anything interesting. So I guess I give it a Gordon, just because, like, still low off for wasted potential, but that's it.
I will also give it a Gordon because it does have a couple really enjoyable bits, like the hello is it tomorrow scene. I think that's kind of just been the only bit that like we've all genuinely really enjoyed. I mean, I can only speak for myself and how I've been perceiving
I love
the way
that.
we've like
Yeah.
been analyzing
Yeah,
this
I
book.
loved it.
But like I feel like that's just the one bit that we're clinging to as we trudge through the arid desert that is James
It's the
the
only
Red
thing I
Engine.
remember.
Fucking barren, devoid of like
Yeah.
shit. Only the bones of stories that could be.
Read Dawn's versions
Yeah.
of these
So-
stories, they're good.
I'm just dramatic.
Yeah, Dawn's takes on these are very good. So I
haven't read them.
I guess
I would like to.
I guess are we done? Are we done with James the Red
I think
Engine?
we're
I think we're
free.
finally through. The evil
Like
is
we gave the book
defeated.
ranking. I think we're free.
So
We did
I
it.
will say,
Yeah. Yeah, no, I give James the Red Engine a Gordon.
Yeah.
I will say,
Yeah.
before we do the
And with these
outro,
words.
Andrew, until we record
Oh.
Tank Picture Thomas again, you have to go back into the Thomas vault.
That's what
That's
you
what-
think.
That's not
Oh,
what
God.
you
Oh,
think,
no.
Dr.
What
Eggman.
are they doing? What are they doing? Where are they
They
going?
ran out the door. Why
Quick.
did we leave it open?
Oh God! Oh no!
God,
Jamie.
is this a fucking containment breach? God,
Jamie.
we have to go out there.
Jamie.
We need to go.
Jamie,
Yes.
Here's the thing.
Did you leave the weakness amplifying necklace on them?
I think I may have forgotten
Oh,
that.
fuck.
Okay, we need to go capture our hostage guest. We'll see you next
You
time.
two go
on...
capture. I'm not getting
Oh
involved
God, they're
in this.
back. Okay, Jamie, do the outro.
We'll see you next time. We need to deal with this. We'll see you next time when we talk about an actually good book. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.